Welcome back to my Flosstube channel. My name is Sarah, otherwise known as Little Snips, and this is episode 15 on May 15th, which is sort of appropriate, I guess. This is the second episode that I've done where I let you see my face, that I let you see what I look like, and that is primarily because of the reaction to my last episode, which is the first time I looked at you the way you guys look at me when you're doing your videos. I've said before that this community is pretty amazing, that we are very supportive and very encouraging and a safe space, more or less, to be yourself and talk about the projects that you're working on and what you're doing. And I found that out in true form after last episode. I apologize for not responding to all of the comments. The very flattering, very friendly, very encouraging, and amazing comments that I got. I don't have an excuse for not responding to them other than there was never time. Like when I wanted to sit down and do it, I didn't have the time or the energy, and so I didn't. But I did react to a lot of them, and even if I didn't, they meant a lot. They really did mean a lot, and I so appreciate you guys taking the time to encourage me and say hi and that kind of thing. So yeah, this will probably be the new norm of my videos until, I don't know, if I'm in a weird mood or I'm not feeling well or for whatever reason I feel like I should go back to my hands, I might do that for an episode or two, but I will try to continue to look at the camera and I will try to continue to talk to you guys and let you see me, and we'll see how that goes. If you are a returning viewer, now that I've gotten that out of the way, if you're a returning viewer to my channel, thank you for coming back. Thank you for your likes and comments and subscriptions. If you are a new viewer and you're here for the first time, thanks for giving me a chance. Thanks for coming to see what I'm all about. I am primarily a cross-stitcher, but I am, as I've said several times, I'm sort of magpie-like in that I'm distracted by shiny things. So I do a lot of things, and I might show you anything, but mostly cross-stitch. A few of you have said that, I know I commented that I felt a little nervous and uncomfortable in front of the camera last time, and a few of you have commented and said that you thought I looked pretty calm and collected. I'm going to blame many years of theater for that. I was a theater major in college. I did theater basically my whole life. I mean, on and off through as a little kid and through high school, and then I majored in theater in college with a Shakespeare concentration, so I'm a total Shakespeare geek. But I have performed a lot. I've stood in front of a lot of crowds, and it doesn't make me panic like it does some people. I do public speaking. I am a performer, or have been a performer at Renaissance fairs. When I go to conventions and conferences, I tend to get drafted to be the voice of the conference, because not only can I be really loud when I want to, but I can project my voice pretty well and make myself heard. So public speaking does not freak me out. I do get nervous. The way that my nerves display themselves is when I either trip over my words, like I just did, or I get a little bit fidgety. But for the most part, public speaking is not a big deal for me. So you can blame that or thank that for my ability to make it look like I'm not freaked out, even if I am a little nervous. I have a couple of trivia things I wanted to tell you about before I get into the meat of the episode. First of those is I have not made a diamond painting video for about a month, and I know that there are some of you who came to my channel because you were looking for diamond painting information and you like the diamond painting videos. The reason I haven't done any recently is because, kind of like when I don't have a lot to show you on my cross-stitch projects, I don't show you the project. I haven't really done any diamond painting for the last month or so. I've been distracted by other things, I've been working on other projects, and I don't want to show you a diamond painting if I've only put down like 50 stones, because it's not going to show up. It's not going to look like any difference has been made in the project from the last time you saw it. So I am planning on doing some more diamond painting in the next week or so. So I should be able to make another diamond painting video relatively shortly after that. So the next week or two I should have a new diamond painting video. I apologize for the fact that it's been so long between them. But you're not going to see any diamond painting in this video, so if that's what you're here for, you might want to wander off and watch something else. Or, stick around and check out the cross-stitching. Maybe you'll be interested in that too. The second thing I wanted to talk about is, in the last episode I talked a lot about the sulky blendable threads that some of us are talking about on Flosstube, and I made a mistake. I told you that there were only 14 colors in the little 50-yard spools, the petite spools that you can get in collections on Amazon, and I was wrong. There are actually 30 of them. They started with 14 and they added another 16 colors to the palette, or to the petite collection. Those are the 30 spools that you will get in the case if you order the case from Amazon or elsewhere. But there are 30 and not 14, and so if you were sort of waffling about ordering them because there weren't enough to make it worthwhile or whatever reason, I apologize for misleading you. I was wrong. So plain and simple, I was wrong. There are 30 and not 14. And we'll talk more about that later. I think really that is all of the administrative stuff I need to tell you. And this is my third attempt at making this video. The first two have crashed. So I'm going to try to go a little bit faster through everything that I'm telling you, so hopefully it won't happen again. So I guess that means that we can move on to the cross-stitch portion of the episode. And the first thing I want to tell you is that I have a finished object. I have a fully finished object. The downside to me telling you that is that I have to tell you that I don't have it with me. I had to finish it and I had to send it because it was a Mother's Day gift. Now, those of you who've been watching my videos for a while know that I was working on what I fondly called the Tablecloth of Doom, which was a kit from Vervaco that was a table topper tablecloth with a repeating pattern of birds around all four edges. I got that from my mother, who found it in a yard sale and asked me to make it for her, which I did. I wanted to finish it by Mother's Day, and I just barely did it. I finished the tablecloth on the last Thursday, so the Thursday before Mother's Day. Completely finished it, and then I had to get it packaged up and shipped off to my mom. So I don't have it here to show you. What I did do is that I made a video right after I finished stitching it, so you could, so you could see it, and you could, I could tell you a little bit about it, you could see the finished thing, and then I could get it bundled up and sent off. So, without further ado, I'm going to insert that video. Actually, with some ado. In the video, the camera angle is a little bit changed, so you can see my closet where I keep my snakes. So, you don't see any of the snakes. I've watched the video several times, and they are not there. You don't see them move, you don't see their heads pop out or anything like that. But you can see the edge of their boxes, and so I just wanted to warn you, if you have a fear of snakes, that the boxes are there. I don't want you to spend the whole time, spending time focused on those boxes to see if the snakes show up or do something frightening. They're not going to. But they are there, so just be aware. Enough of a disclaimer. I'm going to insert the video. Okay guys, this is a video that I'm filming really quickly. It's late afternoon, so I apologize for the fact that I look sort of tired and, I didn't do my makeup, whatever. It was just a quick video. Because I wanted to show you, before I send this to my mom, that the Tablecloth of Doom is done. Hallelujah! The tablecloth is done. So, here it is. Of course, I show you the side that's upside down, so they're all going to be upside down until I flip them around, aren't they? Anyway. The Tablecloth of Doom! It's done! And my video is being really jerky, so I apologize if I do something silly and you can't see, but it's done. All four sides are finished. Finally. I am cutting it really close. This is Thursday the 11th. Mother's Day obviously is May 14th, and I stopped looking at the camera, sorry. Mother's Day is obviously May 14th, and I need to send this across country because I live in California and my mom lives in Virginia. She probably won't get this for Mother's Day, but she's going to get it close to Mother's Day, and that's good enough for me. And, like I said, it's done! All four, and I'm going to show you upside down every single time I show you this, but it's, it's done! All four sides! Let me see if I can actually lift it. I don't want to stand up, so, because I'm lazy. Oops, and I went the wrong way. But it's done. All 4 sides. All 4 sides are done! I can put the Tablecloth of Doom away. I am never doing another tablecloth again. Ugh, not looking at the camera. I'm never doing another tablecloth again. I love my mom. I am sure she will appreciate the tablecloth, but repetitive patterns are not for me. This, like, having to do the same thing over and over again is not for me at all. This week I had to do the last side, and I thought I could get the last, it's 3 birds. I thought, how hard could that possibly be? I can do a bird a day. I'll get it in the mail. Well, I wanted to have it in the mail really early this morning, so I thought she would have a good chance of getting it by Mother's Day. Yeah, no. Because I've done this 3 times already, I couldn't focus on it, but I got it done. So, one more time, the pattern for you. Let me lift it up a little higher so you can actually see it. But yeah, I'm going to put some interfacing on the back to keep the threads in place because they keep popping out of this really terribly woven fabric. And then I'm going to put it in an envelope, and I'm going to write a little card to my mom, and I'm going to send it, and it's going to be gone. Gone, 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 gone. Anyway, thanks for putting up with my crazy little video here, and I will tack this into my regular video on Monday. So, see you then. Bye! And so yeah, that's the tablecloth completely done. In order to finish it, I actually put some heat and bond on the back of the stitched sides. Obviously, I didn't show you the back of the tablecloth while I was showing the video because they're not that pretty. The undersides are not that tidy, and they're not terrible. They're not a massive knots or lumps or anything like that, but they're not a perfect mirror of what's stitched on the front side, and so there's really no reason to show you. You've seen the back of cross-stitch work before. But I put some heat and bond on the back to seal them so the threads would not pull out because of the weave of the fabric. And then I shipped it off. It did not get to my mom in time for Mother's Day, unfortunately, since I sent it on Thursday, or rather I sent it on Friday. But it is out for delivery now, and hopefully she will have it today. She'll pick it up today, and she will let me know what she thinks about it. So she knows it's coming. She's very excited, but I don't think she's seen it yet. So hopefully she loves it. I've had a few people ask me what the actual pattern was. And I happen to have the cover page for the kit still. I do not have the pattern. The pattern basically fell apart after I had folded it back and forth so many times. I did not make a working copy of it, so the pattern essentially disintegrated. The threads I don't think were DMC, and they certainly didn't have any kind of conversion numbers, so you wouldn't have been able to convert them necessarily. So I didn't feel like it was worth keeping, and if you were interested in stitching the kit, I apologize for that, and that I can't pass it on to you. I can show you the picture, though. This is the picture that was on the front of the package that Mom sent me. So it just shows the picture, the tablecloth or table topper itself, and then you can see the little inset of what a couple of the birds looked like. And since you've just seen them, that's probably not exciting to you. But the kit is a Vervaco kit, so I think it was printed in Germany. I don't know for sure. It's very difficult. It was very difficult for me to try to figure out that, so I'm not going to say for 100% certainty that it was printed in Germany, but I think it was. It is a Vervaco kit. Oh, maybe it was DMC, because it does have a DMC label, or yeah, see it has the DMC logo on the back. Anyway, it was our Vervaco kit. It is called Garden Birds, and it says that it's an Aida tablecloth with linen, because the centerpiece, this piece, was linen, and then the edges it says were Aida. It is no kind of Aida that I have ever seen. It probably would have been a 10 or 11 count Aida if it is actually Aida. It was very loosely woven. English. It was very loosely woven. The threads moved very easily. It was not nearly as stiff as any Aida I have ever seen. It really felt like more like a strange sort of linen, but it's calling it Aida, so I guess it may be an old form of Aida, I don't know. But I don't think that you can buy it off of any website right now, the kit I mean. I don't think you can buy it off of any website right now. You might check eBay if you're interested in it. Keep your eye open for it if you like that pattern. I don't know where to tell you to get it other than that, so I apologize, but the most important part is that it's a finished object, and it is my first finish of 2017, which is really exciting. For the past several years, I haven't finished anything. I haven't been stitching as much as I have since, I think, November is when or October maybe. Anyway, the end of last year is when I started stitching again, and I hadn't been stitching really at all for several years up until that point, until I picked it up again because I found Flosstube. So, it's my first finish of 2017, which I know it's halfway through May and I've only finished one thing, but that's better than nothing, and it's better than years of not stitching at all. So I'm very excited, and I'm going to move on and do other things. I sort of joked about, maybe my last episode, certainly on my Facebook post when I posted a picture of the finished object, I sort of joked that I was going to start all the things after I finished the tablecloth because I had been so focused on it, and I am not normally a one project kind of person, and I was just working on that one project every day, and I had things that I desperately wanted to stitch on, and I kept thinking of things that I wanted to do or be doing instead of stitching on the tablecloth. So I said, I'm going to start all the things, and I told my husband that I was going to start all the things, and he sort of concernedly said, okay, start things if you want to, but don't overwhelm yourself so you don't do anything. Which, you know, we've been married for almost 20 years, so he knows me pretty well. He knows that I would do that, and I could have done that. I started 4 things. I could have started probably 8 or 10 things that I really wanted to, but I restrained myself. I was good. I kept myself under control, and I started 4 things. But before I show you that, I want to show you something that you have seen before, because I made a little bit more progress on it. This is the Birthstone Dragon Stitch Along by Ingleside Imaginarium, designed by Brittany Church. Sorry, I have an itch. I apologize for wiggling around. And you guys have seen it. You've probably seen the May Dragon completed now, who is a little tiny emerald dragon and is super cute. I am way behind. I have just now finished the majority of, or I finished the main stitching on the January dragon, which looks like this, the Garnet Dragon. Weirdly, there's something about this pattern that when I try to stitch it, I get really easily distracted, and I'm not making a lot of progress every time I work on it, and I'm not sure what that's about. I think I have an idea this weekend, or this time, because I have started back stitching. If you can tell, you can see a couple lines of back stitching on him. And that's going to pull the details out of the project, obviously, which is the whole point of back stitching, right? So you can make details out of the colors. This is the kind of detail work that my husband really likes. I mentioned in another episode that he's not a fan of the Heaven and Earth designs because they don't use back stitching, because the details are all done by color and shading and that kind of thing, and he really prefers patterns that use back stitching in order to define details. So this is definitely more his speed than the dragons I was working on for him. And again, I have problems with the camera. I apologize. But the problem with this pattern for me personally is that some of the backstitch direction, meaning the images showing you where the backstitching is supposed to go, were printed directly on top of the chart itself. So it makes it a little bit difficult to tell where the backstitching lines are and where the grid lines are on the chart itself. So there's a little bit of fiddly guesswork going on sometimes, and I think that's what is keeping me from just plowing through the backstitch on that dragon right away. Also, I'm not a fan of backstitch. My husband likes the way it looks. I don't like doing it. So yeah, so there's the combination of it being difficult to tell where the backstitching is supposed to go exactly in some places, and the fact that I don't like to backstitch. So it's slowing me down a little bit, which is frustrating. It'll get done. I mean, I will do it, and I will figure it out. And I do like the end result. It's just, it trips me up sometimes. So that is again, the Birthstone Dragon Stampler by Ingleside Imaginarium, and one of these days I'm going to be able to say that without pausing. And that's the piece that you have seen before that I continue to do work on. Now, let me show you a couple of things that you haven't seen before. And I disclaim this, preface this by saying, I recently switched from the way I prepare my fabric. I have a sewing machine, I know how to use it, obviously. I used to do the whole zigzagging around the edges of the fabric in order to preserve them and keep them from fraying, and I've seen a couple of videos recently, did some research, and I decided to change that because, well, number one, because I'm kind of lazy, and I don't necessarily feel like pulling my sewing machine out just to serge cross-stitch fabric. The other thing is that I don't feel like I need to necessarily do that. I'm not selling my fabric. If I were selling my fabric, I would definitely do that because I don't know how people are going to handle the fabric. I don't know how they're going to finish it. And I would want to make sure that the fabric is intact. For myself personally, though, the way that I'm going to frame things when I frame them, or the way that I might finish them, I know that the tape, and that's what I'm doing, spoiler, I know that anything I put on the fabric is not going to stay on the edges that it's on. It will be removed before it's finished. So I've taken the easy way out and I've started just putting tape on my fabric. So if that bothers you, if that offends you, I am sorry, but it's convenient and time-saving and effective for me, and so that's what I'm doing now. That said, I started this pattern, and this is a pattern that I learned about from Gliza, who has a Flosstube channel called Made with Glee, and you should definitely check her out because her projects are amazing, and she's awesome. But she showed this pattern, and it's a free pattern, so I have no problem showing the pattern on the channel. It's called Creative, and it's by Wee Little Stitches, who has a shop on Etsy. And it just says, if you can't read the lettering, it says, "God would not have made me this creative if she wanted me to cook and clean." Which is true in my case. I used to do the cooking. My husband has taken that over. He went and took some cooking classes because he wanted to and he liked it. And he's taken over the majority of the cooking. I do still cook sometimes, but for the most part, he does it. I've never been a good housekeeper. Like my whole life. I don't like to clean. And after my mother came to visit once and we brought cleaners in ahead of her to make sure everything was nice for her, the cleaners have stayed, so I have cleaners. And I know that that makes me a little bit spoiled, or a little bit spoiled, and I'm okay with that. But I don't cook. I bake. I am the baker in the house, and I love to bake, but I don't cook. I don't like to clean. I am basically the crafter. Crafting is what I do, and it's what I love to do. And so that saying, that phrasing, is perfectly appropriate for me. Now, this is the start that I made on the project, and you'll see that I just started the motif that runs down the side here, or rather, the motif that runs down the side here. I started to do the lettering, and then because I'm going to change it a little bit, I decided to save that until after the motif was finished. But anyway, this is where I am so far. And I'm using, can you see that? If I get it really close, if the camera will focus? Maybe. Or not. Nope, no focusing. At least I can't see it focus. I'm using a sulky thread, the blendable thread that I was talking about in the last episode and that I just talked about earlier. I'm using sulky in the 12 weight in a color called dark chocolate, and I'll show you that later. But I figured this is 18 count Fiddler's Ada. It's not dyed. I didn't put any extra color on it. And it doesn't have to be a large piece, and I'm having good luck with using the sulky anyway. I really like the way that their variegation turned out, so I figured I would do it again. Since it's a mono, it can be, it doesn't have to be, but can be stitched as a monochromatic pattern. So this is Creative. Again, this is the pattern for it. This is, it's not on her Etsy shop, so finding it is a little bit tricky. It's not on her Etsy, it's not in her newsletter as far as I know, where she posted it to her Flickr account. So I found it, and I will link that in the notes down below, so you can find it if you would like to stitch it as well. She says, you can share it with people, and, you know, so showing you the pattern is not a big deal. You can stitch it on whatever you want, whatever fabric you want, in whatever color you want. You don't, it's just a freebie, and it's kind of a cute saying. Yeah, so that's Creative by Wee Little Stitches. The next thing I did is I started a free sale that Lakeside Needlecraft is doing right now. Lakeside Needlecraft are the people behind the Fantasy Sampler, the Under the Sea Sampler that a lot of people are doing that you've probably seen many times. They're, Kate Worthington, who owns Lakeside Needlecraft, is working with Doreen Jones again, who is the designer behind those two samplers, and who has her own designs. And she's in all of the UK cross-stitching magazines very often. She has an Etsy shop, she has her own website, so Doreen Jones is everywhere. Most people should be aware of who she is, or familiar at least with her patterns. She is doing a free stitch-along with Lakeside Needlecraft, and the border for that was released on Friday. I'm a stitch-along addict, as I have, I think, pretty clearly demonstrated given the number of stitch-alongs that I'm doing this year, because it seems to be the year of the stitch-along, which is great. I'm going to be behind on all of them, and I don't care. I'm just having fun stitching. But they're doing a free stitch-along, and it's a tea and cake stitch-along, and it's tiny. I think it's supposed to be charted out to be like 5 by 5. It's 68 stitches by 67 stitches on 14 count Aida. So it's not going to be very big. There are DMC colors for all of it, so if you have the fabric and you have the colors, you can do it completely for free. There is a color pack that Kate has put together that uses Weeks Dye Works colors, if you want to use those instead, if you happen to have them, or if you would like to order them. I'll put links to all of that stuff in the notes below, so you can take a look at it if you want to. But like I said, it's a free stitch-along. It's a tiny stitch-along. The pieces are going to be released every Friday on the Lakeside Needlecraft web or Facebook group, so if you're not a member of that, go ahead and join if you're interested, or yeah, go ahead and join if you're interested. But I did start that on Friday. I will say that I started it using the DMC colors that were called for in the chart for the border, because the border is the only piece that's been released so far. I am stitching this on 14 count white Aida, and the color that Doreen called for, which I think is 963, which is a really sort of baby pink color, was too pale for me. I couldn't really see it on against the Aida. I apologize, I have itches. But it was too pale. I couldn't really see it. So I decided to switch it out. And this is what I've got so far. So that's the border, the entirety of the border. This is a 10 by 10 inch piece of white, like I said, 14 count white Aida. This is the outermost row of the border for the chart. It does have more detail to it. It has little scallops, and it does have dividing lines that I haven't gotten to yet, but wanted to show you anyway. But this is not the 963. As you can see, it's sort of a darker pink, and that's because I decided to substitute the 963 out. This is actually Color and Cotton Dutch Tulip, which is one of the colors that came out in her most recent Floss Club shipment, and I'll show you those later as well. But yeah, that's all, like I said, it's tiny. That's as big as it's going to be. That's the outer border. It's not going to be any bigger than that. This is not real well centered on my fabric, but again, 10 by 10 piece of white Aida. If you have a scrap of Aida, you should be able to do this as well. You don't have to do it on white Aida. You can do it on any kind of fabric. Again, any kind of fabric, any color. The borders can be done, or any of the colors can be done in whatever colors you choose. It's just going to be fun, and I'm kind of excited to see how it goes. So that was the next thing I started on. The next thing I started, and this is again a Doreen Jones pattern. Like I said, I kind of like, well, I don't kind of like, obviously, I really like Doreen Jones patterns. I find them cute in a not over-the-top kind of way, not saccharinely cute, but just cute and sometimes quirky cute. I really like her style. I also, as I have said in other episodes, particularly in the last episode, I think, we like horses, we like horse animals, we like carousel horses, we like unicorns, that kind of thing. And Doreen Jones just recently finished her series of seasonal unicorn patterns. I had bought 2 of them earlier. I saw that she had released the spring pattern, so I have summer and winter unicorn. I saw that she'd released the spring unicorn, and she just released the autumn unicorn. So the set is now complete. And since she did that, I figured I would go ahead and get them and then start in on my seasonal unicorn patterns. So one of the things I started this weekend is the summer unicorn. And this is what it looks like. Backwards for me. But this is what it looks like. All of the unicorns are in basically the same pose. They face different directions, so you could stitch them on the same piece of fabric, or you can stitch them individually, like I'm going to. But this is the summer unicorn. As you can probably see, where is it? Nope, it's at the bottom. Summer unicorn. Anyway, this is what it looks like. And because there are fractional stitches, I decided to do this on a piece of even weave. I actually went and got a piece of the Charles Craft Monaco because I haven't stitched on that before and I wanted to see what it was like instead of using my usual standby MCG even weave, which again, I don't have a problem with. I know people have problems with it not actually being even weave. I haven't run into that problem, so I don't mind it, but this is a different kind of fabric because I wanted to try it out, and so I did. I didn't, again, not a huge start on this. I didn't get a lot of it done. I did do the top border on it, or the top corner rather, and then down the side, because I'm doing basically stitching one color until I'm done with the color on a page, and then I'll move on. But so that's the corner on and it's, yeah. I'm still learning how to do this in front of the camera, so like I said. But yeah, it's, not a lot done. That is one of my needle minders from Denkai Designs, and I thought it was appropriate to put the horse on the unicorn piece. So that is Summer Unicorn by Doreen Jones. Again, 28 count, white Monaco, no dye on it whatsoever. And then the last piece that I started is the piece that I have been wanting to start for a really long time, and absolutely not letting myself start it before I finished the tablecloth. Like this is the one piece that I was absolutely like, I cannot start this piece until the tablecloth is done because I'll just ignore the tablecloth because I'm that excited about this thing. For the first thing I want to show you though, and I'm going to take this out of the hoop, despite the fact that it's going to be a pain to put it back in the hoop, but that's okay. This is what we do. In the hoop, out of the hoop, back and forth all the time, right? So I'm going to show you the fabric because I dyed this fabric and I'm really proud of the way that this fabric turned out. Again, it's taped so that the edges don't fray, but this is 18 count Aida, and I call this colorway, not that I need to call my own individual colorways anything other than dyed fabric, but I call this colorway Pictograph because it's sort of the ruddy terracotta brown red color of Pueblos and that kind of thing, and terracotta, go figure. But I call it Pictograph because it's this mottled red-brown, and then it's got the lighter mottling and the streaks of darker brown in it. And it turned out really prettily. I mean, like it turned out much better than even I was expecting it to turn out. So I'm really proud of it. So I'm showing you the fabric because I'm proud to show you. And then I'll show you what I started working on, and you will probably recognize this without me having to tell you what it is, because so many people are doing it, and in so many different color combinations that it just blows my mind. I mean, and it looks so different depending on the color and depending how people are doing it. I'm inspired every time I look at the group to see what people have done with the pattern. But this is what I've gotten done so far. And there you go. And if you are guessing, you are probably right. This is the Linen and Threads Mystery Sampler. This is the start of the January band. This is just one motif. I've decided to do one motif at a time, side by side, just so I can control the carrying of threads and to make sure that I like where the color placement is done before I've invested the same color into 3 motifs across the piece of fabric, and I have to rip all of that out. And I'm going to take a drink because my voice is cracking, in case you can't hear it. Sorry about that, but my voice was literally cracking. I sounded like a teenage boy. Which my voice does change sometimes. My voice does do that every once in a while, but you probably don't want to hear it. Anyway, so that's the start of the Linen and Threads Mystery Sampler, the January band. The dark brown is $8.98. The white, what looks like white, is actually ecru on the fabric. And then I have, I think it's 3811. It's sort of a light turquoise blue that I'm going to use as my accent color, or as one of my colors, but in this particular band it'll be the accent color. The birds will be turquoise. The center of some of the flowers will be turquoise. So I think it'll look really nice. I know the design is not in any way Southwestern or Native American or anything, but we are trying to decorate the house for the most part in those kind of colors and those kind of motifs. So I figured I would at least stick with the colors if I can't have the same, if I can't have the motif. So that is the last thing that I started over the weekend. So like I said, 4 things that I started where I could have started many more, but I restrained myself and didn't. And that is all of the stitching that I did, which was quite a lot, really, given the fact that I finished the tablecloth and, you know, finished the dragon and then started 4 new projects. So it was actually quite a lot of stitching. But that's all the stitching I have to show you. I didn't touch anything else of any of my other old projects. Those will come back into rotation in the next couple of weeks, so you'll probably start seeing those again. Which means then that I should go on to the things that I got. Like I said, I'm not doing Stitch from Stash. I'm trying not to spend enormous amounts of money, but I'm not particularly concerned with buying things. I buy patterns because I'm going to use them eventually. Like I said in the last episode, I have decided to join the Color and Cotton Floss Club, which I think I mentioned in another video. But I joined the Color and Cotton Floss Club. I just joined the Fabric of the Month Club by Fabrics by LJ, so I can get some pieces of fabric that are not dyed by me, so I can see somebody else's hand at dyeing every once in a while. But yeah, I still get things. I still order things. I still get things. Like I said, one of them was the Color and Cotton Floss Club shipment this month. Excuse my crinkling while I pull these out. So the deal with the Color and Cotton Floss Club is that you get 5 skeins of floss every month. And this is the last one. Are there 5 here? There are, okay. 5 skeins of floss for $10. It's a pretty fantastic deal. So these are the colors that we got. Oop, let me organize them. These are the colors that we got this month. If you can see those and the light doesn't wash them out. So they are Sea Nymph, Dutch Tulip, which is the pink that I used on my free Lakeside Needlecraft stitch along. This is Pineapple. This is Mint, I think. Spearmint is this really pale, really pretty green. And then this one is called Cloud Gazing, which is a really pretty blue. They're all sort of, I mean, these 3 at least are sort of pastel-y colors. And then you have the darker colors. I think Sea Nymph is my favorite one because it's the one that has the most variegation. But I like the Dutch Tulip. I like all of them. And yeah, so I'm pretty excited to have my first shipment of the Floss Club. I will get my first shipment of the Fabric of the Month in June. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how the fabric turns out. I ordered Ada because I've discovered that I don't mind stitching on Ada again. I prefer the higher count Ada, so 18 count Ada is what I ordered, but I don't necessarily need to have everything stitched on linen or even weave. I like even weave. I'm not really a fan of linen with the slubs and the varying thicknesses of the woven threads, but I really like even weave. What else did I get? Oh, well, I mentioned the sulky, and I mentioned that there were more threads than I thought in the box, and that is because I actually looked on Amazon, and I know I told you guys that the last time I looked for the blendable case that Letitia, the crafty curator, has, and that Danielle, the stitcherista, was gifted. That those cases on Amazon had they were showing a back order of 1 to 3 months, I think, was the last time I saw. And then I was looking for something else on Amazon, and I just happened to check and see whether the time had gone down, and they were available. So if you were waiting for one, if you're interested in buying a case, you know, go check on Amazon every once in a while and see if they're available. They might still be now. I haven't checked. If not, and there's a delay, you know, keep checking back, because they might get stock sooner than they think they're going to get it. But they did apparently get stock sooner than they thought they were going to get it, and so I have the blendable assortment of the Sulky Petites. Yeah, I ordered it, got free shipping through Prime, and it came in a couple of days. And now there are some duplicates. Sorry. There are some duplicates in here, so let me see if I can show you that. Oops. That side. Come on, Sarah, you can do it. There we go. That side is the non-duplicate side. So, well, you're seeing duplicates too. Sorry. But these are the colors of the blendable threads, and they come in the cool case. The case is pretty cool because you can add more threads. But you can do it. You can do it, Sarah. You can figure it out. Anyway, let me just zip this around and make you really dizzy. That is the blendables case. There are 30 spools that come in the case. There's room for, I think, 90 in here. So if you wanted to order the separate or the solid colors, or you wanted to order more copies of blendables, you can store them all in the same case. So that was pretty exciting. The colors are all really pretty, and I will plan to use them all on something. There are a lot of rainbow stitch things that I've seen lately that I will use them on. Basically, I'm planning to use them for anything that is like a monochromatic pattern, a one-color pattern, or a silhouette pattern. A lot of the ink circle patterns, there's some modern folk patterns on Etsy. So there are a lot of like silhouette kind of things that I plan to use those for. Knotwork patterns like the one that I showed you in my last episode. Yeah, I will use them because I actually do like the threads quite a lot. And the colors are great, and the variegation is great, and that's what I'm going to do. I did also order a few spools, bigger spools of colors that you cannot get in the petites. I was able to not order some of them because I bought the case, but there were a few that are not in the smaller spools that I really wanted, and so I got them. We'll see how the color shows up on the video. The first one is, let me see, what's the number? The number on this is 4105, and this is the America colorway. So as you might expect, it's, well, where's my camera? As you might expect, it's red, white, and blue. I don't know how well that's showing up, and I don't know if holding up a piece of paper is going to make it show up any better, but we'll do it anyway, just in case. So it's red, white, and blue. I had some aspirations of doing a Captain America, some kind of Marvel superhero thing with that. We'll see if that happens, but that was my plan, and so that's why I wanted to order that color. I also ordered a color called Chocolate Mint, which is, again, don't know how well the color is going to show up, but it's like a milk chocolate brown with some minty greens in variegation, and I mostly ordered it for the name. I'm a big fan of mint and chocolate together, but I also really like the colors together, so I ordered that, and then I ordered Dark Chocolate, which is the one that I said I was doing the creative pattern with. And this is, it's a combination of all sorts of chocolatey browns they're really pretty. I really like the way that the colors play together. So this is Dark Chocolates. They also have a milk chocolate, which I don't think is in the sampler. I will have to check, and if it is, I'll show you in another episode. But I also kind of want to get that just to compare it to the Dark Chocolate. One thing I also wanted to say about Sulky. Several people have mentioned that it doesn't have the same sheen as DMC does. The DMC has sort of a shine to it when you stitch with it, and that the sulky doesn't. If you look at this spool, though, this spool in particular, and again, camera problems, do you see the shine? Do you see the fact that there is a band of reflected light right here that is shiny? So if you are concerned about sheen on your stitching, I would not worry about the sulky. I don't think you're going to have a problem getting shine out of it. It's just that it's round, so it doesn't lay flat, so it doesn't catch the light in the same way, like I was saying in my last episode. It doesn't catch and display and reflect light the same way that the flatter surface of DMC does. So it might look a little bit different, but it's not that the cotton doesn't have the same kind of shine to it. It's just a different surface. So there you go. That's my opinion on that. What else did I get? Oh, I also got, and I'm going to blame this one on Danielle, on the Stitcherista. She has shown several of her counted canvas work, her needlepoint things that she's finished in the past and had framed and displayed in her house. My experience with needlepoint patterns has always been kind of like my plastic canvas patterns, you know, in that, I'm going to show you a piece that I'm working on right now. In that, you know, plastic canvas, you kind of have you have long stitch or straight stitch or something like that, and it's really simplistic, or it's always looked really simplistic to me, and so I never really had an attraction to doing needlepoint. And then I saw some of Danielle's counted canvas pieces, and I started looking around for needlepoint that looked like that looked like quilt blocks and had different stitches and specialty stitches, I guess, is what you know, the specialty stitches that are needlepoint stitches that can be worked into cross-stitch patterns, but tend to be a different kind of project. You know what I mean? Anyway, I started looking around for patterns, and I found some designers that have things kitted up, because much like you have to learn where to order things for cross-stitch, you have to learn where to order things for needlepoint, and I didn't have a frame of reference for doing that. I mean, they call for various kinds of canvas, and anyway, I cheaped out, or rather, I chickened out, took the easy way out, and I bought a kit from, what's her name? Kathy Reese, who does Needle Delights Originals, which I think is one of the things that Danielle mentioned, one of the designers that she mentioned. But I went to her website and I ordered one of her little Color Delight kits. So I ordered this one, which is Color Delights Cobalt. I'm going to move my fingers and you can see that. And that's what the finished piece is supposed to look like. Now, on the website, I either didn't read correctly, didn't read closely enough, or the measurements or dimensions are not listed there. But I thought that it was going to be, you know, a 8x8 piece of fabric. 8x8 project, something like that. Well, nope. Well, maybe it is. I thought it was going to be bigger than this anyway. But this is the fabric. This is the canvas. You can see right through it. But this is the size of the project. So this is the biggest that it will be. And this is what's called 18 count mono canvas. So this is needlepoint canvas. And it's basically, it's still an even weave, but you're not going to be able to see it. And if I put paper behind it, you won't be able, well, you can kind of see it. Putting paper behind it will just wash it out with white. But it's, the holes are bigger, the holes are rounder than on cross-stitching. And I'm interested to see how this project turns out, because I really like the look of the finished project. And like I said, I like the look of Danielle's finished projects. I just haven't ever done one myself, and I wanted to try it. It comes with, the kit came with a bag of all different kinds of fiber. So there's DMC in there. There's both in the stranded cotton and in pearl cotton. There is a skein of, or a length of, Weeks Dye Works. So there's this. This is Weeks Dye Works. Which one is this? Blue Bonnet. It's Blue Bonnet. So there's Weeks Dye Works. And there are several cards from Rainbow Gallery, who are the people who do Petite Treasure Braid, among other things. There's also a Karen Water Lilies? Watercolors. So this is the cotton watercolors. So there's also that came in the kit. And then there's, like I said, there's several cards of Rainbow Gallery stuff. Now, none of it is Petite Treasure Braid. They are all different kinds of blue. I mean, this is, like I said, it's cobalt, so they're all different shades of blue. They're all different kinds of fabrics, or flosses, rather, which is exciting to me because I get to try different things. I get to try Mandarin floss, which is 6-ply, and what is it? It's 6-ply bamboo. 6-ply bamboo, so it's very shiny. Bamboo tends to make things very sleek and very shiny, so it's bamboo floss. And then this is Neon Rays, which is needlepoint ribbon. So it's not actually floss, it's ribbon. And then this is fuzzy stuff. So it's fuzzy, it's not whisper, but it's close, I think. Fuzzy blue. And then this is highlights, which is a metallic 2-ply, stranded thread, which is shiny blue. The thing that amused me, or rather that interested me, intrigued me, whatever, about the Rainbow Gallery cards, I did not know this, but the Rainbow Gallery stuff comes from all over the place. It's made in several different places. I assumed that Rainbow Gallery would all be made in the same location. Apparently it's not. The fuzzy stuff says that it is made in Italy. So the fuzzy is made in Italy. There was another one that was made in Italy. The highlights was also made in Italy. However, the Neon Rays says that it was made in Germany. And the Mandarin floss says that it was made, probably appropriately, in China. So I think it's interesting that the Rainbow Gallery stuff comes from all different places. But again, I'm excited because I get to try out a different sort of needlework, different project, and I know that my local-ish needlepoint or needlework store does have the canvas and does have the supplies to be able to do this, and it does have patterns that I can go and get, so that's exciting for me. So it's going to be an adventure learning how to do something new and playing with some new techniques. I might actually start doing that after I finish this video. Because I think that's about it. I have rambled or talked to you for about 50 minutes. I need to put the video in, so the video is probably going to be about an hour long, which hasn't been that long for a while. And I'm pretty excited to put this video up because I'm enjoying sharing my things with you and doing it where you can see me. I don't know. That was a random thought. Random thoughts are fun. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. So I will hope that you all have a fantastic, stitchy 2 weeks or so. I hope that your projects are coming along nicely. I hope that those of you who are mothers of any sort, whether that be to human children or fur baby children or aunts or family friends or any kind of mother figure whatsoever, that you all had a wonderful weekend, that you had a wonderful Mother's Day, that you were treated spectacularly yesterday, and that you had a good time, and that you are in a good place in your life in general. I will, again, be putting links in the notes below for things that I mentioned, and I will see you again in a couple of weeks. Talk to you soon, guys. Bye.